Click on the subscribe button, especially the bell on the right side. Otherwise, you will miss the latest videos.
Is easy to understand. We will display it the way we have learnt it. I will explain it to you the way we have learnt it. I have not added any layer except transit, because it's a transit based rule. Except transit, I have not added any layer. I am not making it complicated, though this technique has 3-4 layers in it. But even with the first layer, you can use it very effectively. This technique, it would have been better if Sunil sir would have shown it to you, because it is his technique, but still I will try to do and show it in my own way. And while doing so, I will be giving you some subtle inputs of advanced predictive astrology. Now, it is for you to catch. So be very careful, because we will only be using transit. We will not be using any other method of technique. Ready, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let me take you to the PPT. Yeah, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
So, it is when the Natal ninth lord interacts with the Navamsa chart during the transit of Saturn. Don't worry, I will explain it. What is the outcome? The outcome is major significant events transpire during such interactions. I will explain to you how. Now, here is the synopsis. The technique can be used by decoding the effects of transiting planets on the ninth lord of the Rashi chart. Transit of any of the major 4 slow-moving planets, namely Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu or Ketu, can be used. In this case study, we have used a complete round of 30 years of the slowest moving planet Saturn to see when major events got manifold. You could take Jupiter, you could take Rahu, or you could take Ketu also. The nature of the events can be good, bad, or ugly depending upon the yogas present in the birth chart. Now, this technique by itself will not be able to give you what will be the result of the event, because it is a snapshot rule to determine when a major event can happen. But I will show you, I will give you some clues of how advanced predictive astrology is used. We have used only the Parashari rules to keep the understanding simple. We have not used Gemini, we have not used Nadi, we have not used any other rule. Only Parashari rules. And that too what you people have learned. Not beyond that. Now, the technique. What you have to do? Identify the ninth lord in the D1. Any horoscope that comes to you, first step is identify the ninth lord in the D1. Who is the ninth lord? Simple. When you create in any horoscope, suppose I say Jagannath, check the sign where the ninth lord of D1 is placed in the D9 or the Navamsa chart. Just click the Navamsa chart and take the sign where that ninth lord of D1 is placed. We don't need the divisional chart any further. Now everything will come from D1. Superimpose the ninth lord, the D9 ninth lord sign in that sign in D1 chart. Put the ninth lord of D9 in the sign where it was in D9 in D1. I will show it with the example, not to worry. Now, see the periods when transit Saturn by way of conjunction or aspect will connect with this superimposed ninth lord in D1. This you have to consult the ephemeris or the software, go back forth and find out the periods where transit Saturn by way of conjunction or aspect will get connected with that superimposed ninth lord in D1. Chances of major events cropping up during those periods are more. Whenever transit Saturn will connect with that virtual D9 lord, ninth lord, major events in life can crop up. We'll restrict ourselves only to this. We'll not try to go into, right at this moment, into what type of event will happen. But that's all. This is the technique. इसमें कोई complication नहीं है. No complication is involved. Now the example chart which I will show you, instead of displaying this technique on multiple charts, what we have done is, we have taken one chart of a single native for the sake of better understanding. And we have selected a full round of 30 years of Saturn as the major planet of time significator out of the 4 major slow-moving planets. We have taken Saturn transit only. We have not considered any other planet's transit. We will now see what results unfolded in the life of the native when Saturn connects with the virtual ninth lord during this 30 years of transit by way of conjunction and aspect. We will study that last point. I hope up to this everybody is clear what we need to do. It will be more clear when I will take up the example. And then, of course, I will be attending to your questions. Now, the examples. See, this is a chart of a person, Libra ascendant. Clear? So the ninth lord is Mercury. The ninth house is Gemini. And the ninth lord is Mercury. Mercury is placed in the sign Libra in D9 chart. See, in D1, Mercury is placed in Scorpio. But when we created the divisional chart, we saw Mercury placed in Libra. So what we did, we just superimposed Mercury in D1, in Libra sign. Simple. Virtual Mercury is thus placed in the ascendant in the sign Libra sign of D1. Now, whenever Mercury is placed in Libra, transit Saturn, when in Capricorn, Aries, Leo and Libra, will connect to this virtual Mercury by way of aspect and conjunction. In Libra, Saturn will conjunct this Mercury. In Capricorn, Saturn will aspect this Mercury from by virtue of the 10th aspect. Similarly, in Aries, Saturn will aspect this Mercury with 7th aspect. And when Saturn will be in Leo, will be aspecting this Mercury by the 3rd aspect. But that's all. This much we know. The aspect of Saturn's. So we'll have to pick up those times when Saturn will be connected. 2.5 years approximately each time. Saturn stays in a sign for 2.5 years. So each transit of Saturn in Capricorn, Aries, Leo and Libra will be of 2.5 years, 2.5 years, 2.5. Suppose the person is 50 years of age. So we go back and find out these 4 periods of 2.5 years. Now we will see how things manifold. We will first start with Saturn in Capricorn. Saturn transit of Capricorn was there in his life from 15 December 1990 to 6 March 1993. This Jagannath Hora will give you, not to worry. Go back and check and find out. Now, so Saturn was here. Transit Saturn. In January 1993, the native got married out of his own choice and started staying with his in-laws. Now, here I want to give you the clues. When this marriage took place, transit Saturn was in Dhanishta Nakshatra, ruled by 7th Lord Mars. So say the Nakshatra Lord of Saturn, transit Saturn, was the 7th, Mars. Saturn himself is the 5th Lord, placed in the 5th house in D1. So Saturn has the potential to give romance and love in life. Transit Mercury was with transit Saturn in Capricorn at that point of time. We are now seeing virtual Mercury, but the day of marriage, transit Mercury was also here. This is the major event first which happened when Saturn was transiting Capricorn. We will now go and see how results manifolded in Aries. Saturn transit of Aries from 17th April 1998 to 7th of June 2000. In October 1998, the couple inherited, means that native and his wife, inherited land and property worth 4 crores due to death of the in-laws. Both the in-laws died. They had no other, that wife of that native was a single child. They had a big property, big house with some land attached to that. And she inherited that, and automatically the husband also was entitled to it for this, that inheritance. Prior to that, this man was working in a clerical grade in a company as an accountant. You can imagine, he was earning very meager. But suddenly, 4 crores of property and money came and fall in their lap. Now, the clues. Transit Saturn here in October 1998, if you check, was in Ketu Nakshatra, Ashwini, who in turn was placed in the second house with Mercury in the Natal or D1 chart. In the D1 chart, Ketu is placed in the second with the ninth lord. Second house means money, gains, profits. Transit Saturn was debilitated in Aries, but retrograde. Transit Sun, Mercury and Venus was placed in Libra at that time. Now, why I have chosen Sun? Sun is the 11th lord for Libra. Without the connection of 11th, nothing is going to happen. Mercury is the 9th lord, destiny. Whatever events will happen, if it has to affect the destiny, Mercury's role is important. And Venus being in the ascendant lord, if such combinations happen in the ascendant, that means the native is well connected with the universe at that point of time to get the result. Because ascendant is self. Now, we go to Saturn transit in Leo. Saturn transit of Leo happened between 16th July 2007 to 10th September 2009. During this period, he left his job and started investing in share markets and earned handsome profits. He fully was into speculation, gambling, everything. Invested huge money and was earning very well. Transit Saturn was in the 11th house, aspecting the ascendant, virtual ninth lord, and the 5th house. We all know 5th house is the house of speculation, shares. Saturn himself was the 4th and 5th lord, the yoga karaka for the Libra ascendant. Saturn, a yoga karaka, placed in 11th, aspecting, connecting ascendant, the destiny lord Mercury, virtual Mercury, 5th house, the combination ready. But since he left the job, that factor can also be found out when we saw transit Ketu was in the Natal in the 10th house. Now Ketu we know is separative. So when Ketu was transiting his 10th house in Cancer during that time, Ketu give the result of separation from his job, and he went into this venture of share market. Next, we will come and see what happened during the transit of Saturn on this virtual marker in Libra, where Saturn is exalted. Saturn transit of Libra from 15th 11 2011 to 3rd 11 2014. In June 2013, mortgaged the landed property with the bank to take loan worth around 3 crores. Invested in share market and gambling. Suffered huge loss. Failed to pay the EMIs. Bank started litigation. A sudden reversal of destiny. Why? Can we find it out from the D1 only without applying any other techniques? Now, when this happened, transit Saturn was in the nakshatra of Rahu. See Rahu's placement in the D1 chart. Rahu is in the 8th. When he took the loan. And transit Rahu was with Saturn at that point of time in Libra. During the time he took the loan, June 2013. Anybody can check the time and placement. Transit Saturn was in a Jupiterian nakshatra when the litigation started. We know in Libra we have a Jupiter nakshatra. Which is the name of the nakshatra? Can anybody say? सब कैमरा बंद करके बैठ गया है.
विशाखा.
Yes, very correct. Very correct. Very good. ये रोड सेशन काम आ रहा है. I think this is helping. Now Jupiter, who is Jupiter? Jupiter is the 3rd and 6th lord. So 6th lord, 6 shows litigation. Jupiter has the potential to give litigation. It started. And transit Ketu also was in Pisces in the 6th house. That house was also afflicted. So you see, we started from Capricorn, then Aries, then Leo, then we came to Libra. Now, the last stage we will come, we'll again go back to Capricorn. Saturn is transiting like this and connecting with this virtual Mercury. Saturn transit of Capricorn, second round. From 24/1/2020 to 29/4/2022. In April 2021, bank took possession of the whole property. I know They were literally driven out of the house, had no money to pay the EMIs, no money to combat the litigation. Bank won the litigation and took possession of the house. They had to rent a small house in the nearby locality. And this man was into stock marketing and I have said into gambling. So he had taken some private loans from some private people also, hooligans. He could not pay. They were all threatening him. So the humiliation, the suffering, the tension, everything was too much for this gentleman to handle. He couldn't handle that, and as a consequence, he died out of a heart attack on 22nd, 7th of February 2022. See, Saturn is the fifth lord, fourth lord, and being the fifth, he is the chief significator of heart also. Clues are transit Saturn was aspected by Rahu from the 8th house when Bank took possession. So when Saturn was here, Rahu, transit Rahu was a natal Rahu on this 8th house, Taurus. Again, see, Saturn was in a Martian constellation when he died. In the earlier round, in Dhanishta Nakshatra, in Mars's Nakshatra, Saturn gave marriage. But in this round, the same Nakshatra, Mars being the second and seventh lord, was the primary Maraka for Libra ascendant. Here the Maraka properties of Mars got ignited, Saturn inherited and delivered the results. Saturn was the fifth lord indicating heart. End of the story. स्क्रीन पे आते हैं. Either there will be too many questions or there will be no questions. Let me see. If people can take a screenshot of this. can't ये कहाँ से कैसे हो गया? सारे कैमरे. Okay. Abik, shoot.
So, this is a brilliant technique and
Simple है कि complicated है? First time you saw, you may not remember it.
no, sir. It is. I remember. It is a simple technique. It's a brilliant technique, and what I took a note of actually as you gave clues. So just I may be wrong. So, but just trying. One is the transit, and then Saturn's association with respective house lord nakshatras or respective house lords is giving results. And secondly, if Saturn is somehow associated via nakshatra or transit, like via conjunction or aspect, with any malefic planet, or like say Dusthana lords, then also it is giving some negative results. I mean, that is what I saw. And sir, another question, just a question.
एक एक करके बोलो ना भाई. इतना हम I can't remember so many questions. Series. I know there will be. See,
Yeah.
here, since it is a snapshot technique, Abhik, we have not gone into our original system of analyzing the houses, house lord and Karak.
Right.
That is our original system. But when a chart will come to you, you have to first analyze that and see prospect of major events in life, how it is unfolding. What is the destiny? Before applying any snapshot rule, if you analyze this horoscope in detail in 4, 5 areas of major areas of event, marriage, how it will be, health and longevity, how it will be, financial position and profession, how it will be, as we have learned in our class. There you will find that this man is a medium longevity man. There you will find second house, second income factor having issues. So, analyzing the chart has to be done, which I have not shown in this technique because I discussed this in the transit webinar in 2023. So the scope was limited for me to restrict it only with transit.
Right.
But the application of the nakshatras, how this happens, that I have given you a clue. You have correctly pointed it out of it. When we learn a technique, when we are talking about a house, we are talking about 30 degree of a house. But in advanced predictive astrology, we can break it into 13, 20 degree nakshatra. We make it more fine-tuned. Because nakshatras also have a lord. So that is why at the beginning I said I will show you a glimpse of advanced predictive technology.